So recently I made a video on how to respond to common arguments that you face, and I covered one of the questions that I often get, and people commented many questions, many arguments that they tend to face below that video. So I'm gonna answer some of them in this video. I'll do more like these in the future. So the question that I'm gonna answer is this one. He asks how to respond to people who don't research and argue their facts. Their facts are from people like Abhishek, and one guy is saying NASA is using Indian texts. When I ask for evidence, he says, "You won't get it. You are the sheep. You will follow everyone blindly." Here, this person, clearly he's using an ad hominem. But beyond that, you have to recognize that this person doesn't want to argue with you. He just wants to assert his point. And when he sees that you are not agreeing with him or you are challenging him on that point, he doesn't want to answer your questions or respond to you. He wants to give a logical fallacy, respond with a fallacy like this. You can either try and ask him, hey, try and answer the question, but it seems to me like this person is not fit to argue with. He's just gonna call you names, at which point I would say there's no point arguing with such a person. I've got another comment here asking me, hey Pranav, I usually tend to struggle with answering questions concerning or arguments concerning existence of life and how it must be a divine creation. Usually the argument is along the lines of we can't all have come here because of chance. We have to have a reason for our existence. Do you think trees, animals, humans, etc. exist because we were just lucky enough? Okay, I've answered this exact question in multiple other videos. The Young Sheldon video on this channel and the Story of God video on the main channel. Things you can refer to, I'll link them below in the description also. But briefly, I'll answer this question here as well. What we are used to seeing, or we are used to thinking about complex things as the work of someone. So when we see the complex mechanism inside a watch, we attribute that to a watchmaker. When we see a complex machine like say a car or something, we attribute that manufacturer to someone, right? So whenever we see complexity, we think of it as the work of someone having made it. And the same way, whenever we see the complexity of life, the complexity of all these organs inside or this entire human body or any animal or nature, we imagine that as being the work of someone. The difference between nature and a man-made object is that in the case of a man-made object, we know that it's being made or manufactured. We know that there's a watchmaker. We know the exact process. Some of, not you personally, but we know, humans know how these things are made. But we have no evidence for the making of anything in nature, right? Without evidence, we accept that because it's complex, it has to have been made, created by someone. The thing is, in the 1800s, mid-1800s, Charles Darwin came out with a theory where he explained with proper evidence how simple natural processes over a long period of time can also result in the same kind of complexity. For example, the complexity of life is a result of evolution and nothing else. So when you properly understand evolution, you would understand an answer to this question. Once again, you have to understand that we are taking God as an answer to this question without any evidence. We have evidence for the making of a watch, we have evidence for the making of a car, but we don't have evidence for the creation of nature, right? On the other hand, we have evidence for evolution. We have I don't know how many millions of pieces of evidence for evolution. So what's more likely, that living things evolved? Right? So isn't it illogical to, without any evidence, go to the conclusion that it's a creation of a God? That's one thing. And another thing about chance, what you asked. Chance is something we don't fully understand, because in our daily lives, the kind of chance we encounter is not similar to the chance of existence of a living thing. The chance of your birth having taken place, the chance of the existence of this world is something we can't really comprehend with our brains. So again, for these things, questions like, hey, could it all have been chance? Is a common question, because we don't really understand chance all that well. I'm saying, yes, it could have been chance, and I've given reasons properly in those videos I mentioned. I'm not gonna go into it, but to answer briefly again, chance is something we don't understand very well, so we tend to ask questions like these. But Yeah, it could have been a product of chance. Isn't it more illogical to immediately jump to the only possible other explanation being God's? That illogical? Yeah, I kind of ranted a bit, but I hope I answered your question. See you in the next one.